Alright, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a little bit of a comparison, also a test here on my tank. I've been having it cycle now here for close to a month. The readings have been pretty good. I've been doing water tests to try and see when the cycle started and when it ends. The ammonia has rose, it has went back down. We're just going to see where it's at right now. I think we're getting close to being able to start adding fish and corals, that type of thing, to the tank. I'm going to do a little bit of a test here on camera for you. I'm going to show you the alkalinity test here with the hanna. I'm also going to do the calcium test with the hanna. And then I'm also going to do the phosphate test. We'll be doing all three of those. I'm also going to be doing the same calcium test with this API. And then I'm also going to be doing all four of these tests here on the whole basically Saltwater Master test. Kind of do a comparison, see if they all match up, see if they come out to be the same result. Just a little bit of fun experiment. So let's get started. So we'll start with the hanna phosphate. Once we get into this, there's the whole kit. Here's the phosphate reagent, the actual checker, the little vials for doing the testing, and then a little quick start and instructions. Okay, so for the phosphate, we're going to take this, we're going to fill it up to about this level here with the water. I'm just going to take it and dip it in here. Once we got that up to where it is, pop the cap on. Got to keep this dry and clean. You want it, it's got to be able to read by seeing through the bottle. So you can't have fingerprints on it, any residue, anything like that. It's got to be dry, clear, just like this. You want to try to handle it if you can with just, the cap. So the first step is we just simply turn this on, let it say C1. Once it says C1, you take the top off, slide that in there, click it on. Give it a second here, it's going to till it says C2. Okay, there it shows C2. Now we're going to take it back out, pull the vial out, set that off to the side for a minute. Then we got this packet here. It's going to have a little bit of a reagent in it. Want to get that. It's kind of hard to get so that you can pour it just perfect, but you don't want to. You want to get it all in there so you have a good accurate test. So what I like to do is just take it, kind of open it up, get a little bit of a spout going on it. Then I'll take this. We're going to have to wipe the bottle down again. We're going to take this here. Make sure we get as much in there as is in that packet. So you can see I got the packet empty. Then put this lid back on. And now this I'm going to have to shake for 3 minutes until everything's good and dissolved. I won't sit here and make you watch that for 3 straight minutes. I'll be back once it's dissolved. Okay, so that's been 3 minutes now. You can see here, I'm going to clean it up. Make sure we got no residue on the bottle. Oop, no fingerprints. You can see all the powder's all dissolved in there. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back in here now that we still have it set at C2. I'll put the lid on and I just hold the button in. You can see where it went to set the timer. Apologize for the glare. Okay, so we're going to let that sit now for 3 minutes and then that should give us our reading. Once again, I'll pull it back up when the reading's on. Alright, so the phosphate test is done. As you can see here, I come in at 0.56. That's a little bit higher than I'd like to see it. I'm going to have to do something about that. It's not horrible bad, but it's definitely not where I want it to be. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the calcium, the hanna calcium. I have a glass of RO water, and then this is still the sample that we took from the fish tank. Let's take this out of the box. Once again, we're going to need one of these. The checker itself. This. We will also need one packet of this. We're going to be using the dropper. Pretty much going to get a shot at all this stuff. I think we're going to go with the big one. Alright. And then this will be the one for this. Oh, maybe I got it backwards. So we need to take 10 milliliters of this solution, like so. Put that in the vial. And we want to take this dropper, we want to take this RO deionized water that I got here, and we want to fill it up to the line. Okay, if you can see that, or not, there's a little line. Fill it right up to that line. Put this on so we don't spill it. And we're going to just take this. We're going to click this once, let that turn on. Give this a couple of shakes. Kind of let it set, let the bubbles out for a second. Now you can see once again it says C1. Now we're going to just take and pop the top. Always want to make sure you wipe these off. The clearer they are, the better reading you're going to get. Sit that in there. Push the button. Okay, now it's ready for the next phase. Take this back out. You're going to want to take this little piece here, put it right here, and this is where you got your sample. So this is a sample here. I'm going to hold this button in all the way. I'll let it in there. Let me try that again. All right, there's just a few drops there. Push that in. So then we got the sample in there. Now we'll take the packet. Careful not to spill it. Like I said, I like to put a little crease in it so it's got a spout. This one we don't have to shake near as long, it dissolves pretty quick. You see how it's turning kind of a bluish, purplish color. See, and you can tell, look how clear that is, it's already dissolved that quick. I'm just going to let that set for just a second here. Well, first I'm going to wipe it off. Then we'll set it in here. Close the lid. Push the button. And if you can see that, the 507, I got some glare going on here. That's maybe a little better. Okay, that's the current calcium right there, 507. And that'll be it for the calcium. Okay, now we're on to the alkalinity tester. Since saying this is a hanna one again, take that off. So once again we'll have the tester. I'm going to turn it on right now. C1, just like the other ones. We'll have the vial. Comes with the, we're going to need this for the reagent. Okay, so first thing we're going to do on this one is we're going to fill it to this line right here. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a line. I'm going to fill it with the actual sample. This is water from the tank. Get it right to that line. Put the lid back on. Now we want to make sure we got this all cleaned up again. This is pretty well key to keep this vial so that it can be seen through clearly. Oops, I guess we'll start over. Okay, so now we're going to take it, put it back in the tester, close it up. Basically, it's just getting a reading on the actual water right now before we add the reagent. Okay, now it's ready for the next phase. Take this out. Take the cap off. Now we're going to want to go again to the 10 mil. See how it just stays right, different color there. Now we're going to put that right in here. So again, I'm going to put this on so I don't spill it. This shouldn't take much. We just it's liquid, so it should dissolve real simple. This one doesn't have a powder packet like the other ones. Once again, we're going to take and clean this up. So it's nice and clean. Put it in the, put the lid on it. And 9.4. That's the alkalinity of my water. That's a pretty simple, straightforward test on that one. Okay, so this test is going to be the API calcium test. We'll see where we come out on this one compared to the hanna calcium test. Basically, it's pretty straightforward. You got this tube fill line right here. We're going to take this, take it into our sample. Fill it up to that line. Take solution bottle number 1. It's going to be 10 drops of this, exactly. Okay, so we got 10 drops in there. We're going to put the cover on. Just kind of end for end it a few times, make sure that it's mixed through and through. I put the lid on this as well so I don't spill it. We should be done with that. Then we'll take this, take the bottle number, mark number 2. Now this we're going to have to count each drop. We're going to have to know how many drops because we got to take the number of drops times 20 to come up with the calcium. And I know that the other one was at about 500, so I think we're safe with going, we'll say we'll start out with about 18 drops. What we're looking for is for it to change to blue. Okay, so there's 18. I'm going to give it a stir. See how it's turning pink? Now what we want to do is see exact point when it turns blue. That's when we know the number. So we're at 18 right now. We'll go to 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we got 24 drops. And you see right when I hit 24, you see where it turned blue here? Okay, so it's really close now. So we're at 24 drops. It's still pink. 25, 26. Not quite there yet, 26. So we're looking at, let's see, 27. Looks like that might have did it. So that's what we're looking at. So we found the exact point that it changed color. So we basically got 27 times 20, which we're going to come up with 540. So the calcium we come up with this kit right here is 540. And the calcium we come up with on the hanna was 507. So I'd say we're pretty close. I mean, this one is probably not quite as exact a science as the hanna, but they're pretty close. Gives you a good enough idea where things are at. All right, so next up we're going to get into this here. We're going to try the Saltwater Master test kit from API. As you can see, we're going to be doing the high range pH, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. Okay, so we'll just get into this here. We're going to take here's going to be the color chart that we're going to be using. All right, so I'm going to try to do these in a little bit more of a group. We'll start by just getting I'm just going to get the bottles filled up because they all got the same line for the fill line. So once we get them all filled up here, then we'll start with the ammonia one. See, each one of them takes a little bit of a time, so this way we'll just kind of do them together and we'll get the results at the end. All right, so we'll start with ammonia. We'll just use this one. So first off, we're going to take the bottle of ammonia drops, number 1. It's going to be the same type of thing. We're just going to take and put 8 drops. Okay, then we'll put the lid on once again. Make sure that it's dissolved through. We'll give it just a couple of light twists like this. Then once we do that, we'll take the lid back off. We go with the number 2. See, it says number 2 right here on the bottle. This one as well takes 8 drops. All right, we'll put the lid back on. Put the lids on these. Now these two I'm going to set right out here. I need to give this a vigorous shake here for just a few seconds, about 10 seconds. Now we're going to set that right with the ammonia so we know where it is. It's supposed to set for at least 5 minutes for the color to develop. So we'll let that sit while we work on the next one. Okay, now on the nitrate test, we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be the bottle 1, 10 drops. I got these already full, so we'll just grab one. Oops. Okay, there we got the 10 drops. Oops, got the wrong cap here. This is just to end it a few times, half a dozen times to make sure that it's through the Now it specifies in here to shake this for 30 seconds. I actually was shaking it before we got to this phase because I speed things up for you. But we have that one shook for 30 seconds. And then we're going to add 10 drops of this one in there. This is number 2. Okay, and on this one it gives instructions to shake for at least 1 minute. Alexa, set a 1 minute timer. We'll have Alexa
starting now.
Remind us when it's ready. Okay, so basically I have this one over here that we just did, the nitrate. It's got to sit for 5 minutes. I got the shaking done on that. Now this is going to be the pH. pH is pretty easy one. It's just 5 drops and then shaken. So we're just going to take 5 drops. Put the cap on it. Shake that up. We'll put that right here. Once again, they all say that they take 5 minutes for the color. So this one is also going to be the nitrate. This is pretty straightforward as well with the 5 drops. And then once again, shake. Alright, now we'll let them all sit for the 5 minutes here, and we'll get the readings. This one here, actually, the ammonia, that one has been sitting for at least 5 minutes. So we can start with that one. So ammonia, if you look at the color chart here, you can see that my ammonia is not at 0 yet. I don't believe so anyways. It's pretty close. It's on the low end of things. Because this would be the ammonia, right? You know, basically we got ammonia right here. So we'd want to go the closest color. Want that as close to 0 as we can. So that means my tank is not officially done cycling. I didn't know if it would be quite there yet. This one here should be also about 5 minutes, the nitrite. And so the nitrite would actually be right here. As you can tell, that one is also more towards it's hard to tell when you're at this angle like this, but it's down more on the lower end of things. And then the pH, that we're sitting at, I'd say we're almost spot on to the 7.4, which is really good actually. And then this one finally would be the nitrate. And if you look, we're also down on the lower end, maybe the second one, you know, maybe to this one in between there. The cycle is actually coming along real well in this tank. It won't be long and I'll be able to start adding fish and invertebrates to it. But that's the test right there that I've done on my tank. I've been doing this on a regular basis, trying to monitor the water. I don't really want to chase anything on here. I just want to make sure that I have everything in order before I start stocking the tank. I do have that molly in there that I've been feeding a little bit here, so there has been some food going in there. The live rocks in there. It's cycling. There's a small amount of diatom algae starting to show. I'm going to be putting a power head in here shortly to kind of help prevent most of that from building up. I hope you enjoyed this video.